everybody that misses. So yeah, so Josh just put the attendance in the chat. Welcome everybody. Thanks for coming out to the LinkedIn workshop. Um, Definitely one of our favorite events to put on, and like talking to people and networking during this. So it's always good. Glad we can even do it virtually. Next week, NavAir's coming back, and it's going to be a joint meeting with SWE and ASME. There will be, of course, the details in next week's email. So uh, look out for that. And it's on Thursday instead of Tuesday. So if you're going to that, just keep that in mind. It's not Tuesday. And then the following week on a Tuesday uh, is Matt Isley with Arrow Air. So we're looking forward to that, and a Space Force webinar. And if you don't want to click the link for the attendance, you can scan it right there. I guess before we get started, uh, is anybody here setting up their LinkedIn as we go along? Just curious. I know sometimes need to slow down, or there's some other questions that come up if you guys are setting it up, but um, it's cool either way. I guess just either chat or unmute. It's cool. You can let us know. Okay, so oh, there we go. Yeah, so tonight we have the 7 steps to LinkedIn success. Um, yeah, so step 0. Not sure if anybody's here, but if you are at this step, yeah, just set up your account using probably a professional email, because you'll probably want to be on LinkedIn longer than your time at NC State. And it's a good idea to use a professional picture, because this isn't like a Facebook. You want to try to be as professional as possible. So any type of nice picture works. And there's an option to select you're a student, and there's also things that come with you can like link your NC State um, email. I know for LinkedIn Learning, I'm not sure for actual LinkedIn if it does anything, but um, and then yeah, start creating your page. So here we go. So yeah, picking out a picture. This is a big one, because it's probably one of the first impressions you'll make on somebody if you're just connecting with somebody on LinkedIn. So yeah, this is an important step. Um, and for choosing a professional picture, if you don't already have one, there's a couple options. So the career fair happens twice a year, one in the fall and one in the spring. So getting like your roommate or one of your friends to take a picture of you in your career fair attire is a great way to have a professional picture. It's best if you can choose some type of like neutral backdrop, so that I guess you stand out a little bit more. And the second option is investing in a professional headshot, um, which I think is well worth it. And I'm sure there's a lot of your one headshot can probably go a long way. So yeah, that's another tip there. Okay, moving on to building your profile. So maybe after somebody clicks on your profile, here's what they might see. So um, like I said on step 1, the picture in your name, and then your headline right here, which is right below your name. That's what anybody will probably see first before they click on your profile. And then they'll see your whole profile, which has, this is just the top of it. Okay, so starting with the headline. So a lot of people, uh, for students, a good idea is to indicate that you're a student, because There's just a lot of things that a lot more people are a lot more willing to help out with, I guess, just like talking to you and networking and even giving you opportunities if you are a student. So it's a good idea to try and point that out, and you can do that with your headline. Um, Otherwise, using like current job information. So, for example, if you're working at a job over the summer, maybe you change it over the summer to have your job title. And we'll get to the experience part later. But one thing you can do when you're adding experience is it prompts you like, do you want to change your headline to this? So that's one thing you can do. Um, Another common one that people do is, um, they could say like aerospace engineers seeking internship opportunities. So that, when somebody sees your picture, your name, and your headline before clicking on your profile, um, they already know that that's probably what you want to connect with them for. So that's always a good idea too. Um, and another one is probably keep it short. I think mine's probably too long. So that's probably something I should change. So yeah, I would keep it shorter if you're debating. Okay, so next, building your profile. There's an education section. Um, I guess if you guys need help finding that, can ask. But if you're doing it on your computer, you scroll down, or if you're setting up your account, it'll probably ask for that. So yeah, I mean, there's pretty basic information here. Um, the things to note here are, there's some more on the next slide, but it's good to put like your activities so people know what you're involved in. There's actually a separate section for that you can do too. Um, but the main thing to note here is making a custom URL. This is really important because if you want to put your LinkedIn at the top of your resume, um, it looks a lot better. It's easier for somebody to follow if you just have something that relates to your name. So come on. Well, maybe I can't highlight, but yeah, so mine, it's just my first name and my last name, with the dash in the middle, so really simple. Um, if you need help finding this, uh, there's there's you can edit your profile. I think it's like a different view from editing your headline and stuff. If you guys need help finding this, when we get to the next to step 4, we can help you out with that. So I guess just let us know if you need help finding that, because this is a good one. Okay, step 2, continued. So you want to add your experience to your profile. So I'm pretty sure the order, you may even be able to change the order, but I think it shows like your about, your education, and then your experience. So obviously the main things to add here are internships and co-ops or like undergraduate research experience. Um, for what experience to add, you can see I still have down here like back when I was a cashier at the grocery store in high school. Um, I mean that's something that I don't really have on my resume um, anymore, but I guess I still have it on LinkedIn. It's not as strict as your resume, I guess, in like putting relevant experience because you have much more space. So I guess that's something if you're like debating putting a certain experience on your resume or not, there's usually a good place for it on LinkedIn regardless. Um, okay, so then the summary. This is a part that's not up here. So the summary is right below your headline. It's typically called like the about section, and then somebody can expand it. It can get quite large if you make it. So there's a lot of different styles for these. Um, and I think a lot of people have to do one of these for their English 331. I know I did. Um, so for those, you usually have to do like the narrative story type, which is a little bit longer. A lot of people just do something really short, like at the bottom, this example. So you can really do anything in between those. A lot of sites online kind of suggest you have all these words. Why not? I think the word limit is like 500 words or something. Um, you have all these words, so you should make the most of it. So if you believe in that, then you can do that. But for the summary section, I would recommend looking up some how-tos online for some good ones. But yeah, the summary section is pretty important, especially because it's something that a recruiter might look at and read before even talking to you. So it's your chance to tell them things without even talking to them yet. And then the last part of building your profile um, is way down at the bottom. It's just a good place to put certificates and volunteer experience. There's definitely some more sections here too. I'm pretty sure down here is where you can include like your societies and stuff. And AIAA is definitely one that you can put down there. Um, but yeah, I mean, these are just something. If somebody makes it to the bottom of your profile and they see one of these, they might think, oh, cool, we might have a connection there. I don't know. You may as well put it on there. Um, yeah. Okay. Continuing to step 3. So there's no better way to I guess showcase your skills than having other people endorse you for your skills, so that people looking at your profile and trying to evaluate you don't just have to take your word for it, they can take other people's word for it. Um, so, how endorsements work, you can kind of add your own skills, what you think you're good at. And then when somebody views your profile, um, and they go down to the endorsement section, if they think you're good at a skill, they can endorse you for it. um, and we'll get to this in the next step too. But yeah, the endorsements are a good way to, I guess, sort of prove that you've got some of the skills that you say you do. Okay, so step 4, this is the interactive. This is the interactive part. Usually we get a move when we're in like our normal classroom. We get to move around. And talk to everybody. But I guess we will still kind of try to follow these little prompts that we've got. But yeah, so I guess what we can do is uh, we can go into 2 breakout rooms to just discuss these for about maybe 5 or so minutes, and then yeah, then we can get back together. All right. And I'll send a message when we're getting close to returning. Cool.
What's
Okay. All right. So step 5, um, it's a pretty good step. Yeah, LinkedIn's not the same as Facebook. It's definitely supposed to be more of professional a professional place. Um, so most everything on LinkedIn should try to be career related. That's kind of the point of it. Um, I guess you'll see the only people you'll see use a lot of emojis on LinkedIn are like the LinkedIn influencers, which are they're they're a whole breed themselves. But I mean, generally people don't use too many emojis. Um, I mean, it's kind of just common sense on LinkedIn what to do. Okay, so keeping your profile up to date. So yeah, it's pretty good to check it every once in a while, especially if you're subscribed or follow some good like companies and stuff. It's good to definitely comment on a lot of posts. You never know who might see your comment or engage in a conversation with you, especially if it's something you're passionate about. I know I've certainly met some interesting people at some cool jobs that way. So definitely recommend being active under some posts. Um, and yeah, the main things that you should definitely try to share on LinkedIn in a post of your own is when you get a new job. That's definitely something to share. Any career milestones or work anniversaries, I'm pretty sure LinkedIn shares for you. Um, but yeah, and then I mean, just other things to share might be certain um, activities you've partaken in to, I guess, advance your career. I've seen a lot of people on my feed that do like a LinkedIn learning class, and then there's a little thing you can share there. Um, Definitely, people go to like a conference and share about that. I think those are all like very appropriate things to share. Or if you've done like some research on a topic that's interesting and it's a community you're engaged with, definitely share that too. So yeah, that's kind of what you want to be sharing. Okay, the big one of LinkedIn. Oh, let me go back. Actually, one thing for keeping your profile up to date is like I mentioned earlier, like your feed down here. So the companies and people you follow. This is actually pretty important because people can see your interests. If they scroll like all the way down to the bottom, they can see who you're following, like company wise. And I know John Olds, who was a speaker here a couple of weeks ago, was telling us after the meeting that he actually, when he looks at somebody's LinkedIn and is evaluating somebody to hire them, that's one thing he looks at is like who what you're interested in. So if you're applying to a job at a company, make sure you're following them on LinkedIn. I guess that's the bottom line. Okay, so procuring jobs. This is the big one for LinkedIn, and their search is pretty easy to find a job you want. So on LinkedIn, they have both job postings, and then there's just different companies that you can find. Both you'll find through the search. The job postings, unfortunately, um, there's a lot of them, and especially a lot of large companies don't really keep them up to date. So just be careful of that. If you see a posting that's really old or something, but it still appears to be open, it may not be. Um, and this is an old picture, but I'm not sure if there's still this tab for jobs, but there's definitely something similar that you can set up alerts for, which is good. So I know, especially in the fall when a lot of large companies are um, posting their jobs all at once, you might want to set up an alert using like some keywords. Like intern is a good one. Um, to find when those jobs are being posted, and they'll send them to your inbox, I believe. Um, yeah, so here's a good example from Paul of talking to a recruiter. And these things down here, what to search when you're looking for a recruiter, these are talent acquisition is probably the most common one. It's always good if you can find somebody who's supposed to work directly with universities. So yeah, that's what to do when you're looking for um, when you're looking to speak to a recruiter. And LinkedIn Premium is a good, you get a free one, free trial. And yeah, if you know you're about to go on a big job search, um, use LinkedIn Premium, use your trial, and I think you get maybe like a handful of like tokens or credits to basically just send a message directly into people's inbox like this. Um, so yeah, and when you're sending a message like this, sort of typical email etiquette kind of applies. So you want like a nice little greeting, and then including like a uh, ending, I guess, sign off. So yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. Another good way to procure jobs and a plug to our own LinkedIn group, which you guys should definitely join, is LinkedIn groups. As you can see over here, these are the groups that I'm a part of, and I've gotten to talk to some cool people through them and look at some. I mean, people post specifically to the group, so I mean, if there's one thing that you know, like, yes, I'm really interested in this aspect of designing a rocket. Like, if you're really interested in rocket engine design, or honestly just rockets in general, I'm sure there's some group for that. Um, there's also regional type groups like the AIAA Carolina section group, because that's, I guess, where I'm from. So that's the section I'm in. It's not the most active group, but some of these, there's a lot of good posts that will show up on your feed, I guess, and usually the people that interact on these posts are um, they interact a lot, so it's good from that regard. And then I guess like the big point here for the NC State stuff, so like our branch group, and then the alumni association group. Um, the good thing about that is, you know, NC State alumni or just alumni in general from a school that you're attending um, or attended are probably a little bit more likely to try to help you out or something. Um, so if you go into these groups and try to find somebody who's working in a job you think you might want someday, uh, it's always never a bad idea to try and contact them and start a conversation and ask for like a few minutes of their time, and maybe who knows what might come from that. So um, yeah, so I believe that's all. Yeah, that's all we've got here. So uh, does anybody have any questions about any of that stuff, or for any of the advice that you're trying to put in your own LinkedIn? Do you want like a demo of how to do any of it? Um, just let us know.